Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Dead Man Walking podcast. I am your host, Repeatedly Dead Fred, author of the soon to be released memoir, The Summer I Died 20 Times, which is really what happened to me. And that's how I get the nickname Repeatedly Dead Fred. Makes perfect sense, right? Today, we are doing a combo episode. We're going to touch on some intermittent fasting, some small business, side hustles, and a very motivated person. We have from Bozeman, Montana, Angie Clay.
Nice to be here. Thanks, Fred.
Thanks for coming on, Ange. We've known each other for a couple of years now, and shockingly, we've met through the intermittent fasting world. Funny how that works. We were both moderators in Jin's group, and so we're talking some intermittent fasting, some small biz, and a secret project you're on, maybe not so secret anymore. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into intermittent fasting?
Okay, so I think it was in December, actually, December of 2017, that I
Mm-hmm.
read Jin's very first book that she wrote. And I listened to the audio and I loved her voice. And I thought, well, this might be something that I can try. And so January 2nd of 2018, I decided to start intermittent fasting. I joined Jin's Facebook group and just kind of like got involved, jumped in, started fasting right away. I started with 14:10, so fasted for 14 hours, ate in a 10-hour window. And then like every couple of days, I just increased my window um,
Mm-hmm.
or my fasting time by like a half an hour. Just it felt comfortable. And I eventually got to the place where, I fasted anywhere from 18 to 20 hours. I had really good success. I lost 20 pounds pretty much within the first like 4 months. And then I
Mm-hmm.
realized this was something that I could share with people. And it was easy for me. And so I thought maybe that would be a solution for other people. So I was very active in the group. So then Jen asked me to be a moderator, which was really exciting. And that's where I met you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you actually got tapped by the queen directly. I had to go through the intermediaries to to get my position. So that was a fascinating group. So it's the Delay Don't Deny Facebook support group, which is now archived. So there's still a ton of information on there. I guess it's about a year ago that we archived it, but
Yeah. I think it's still open, but like nobody can post. And so I know that there are a couple of admins that post daily in there, but yeah, there's a ton of information. That's just not an active Facebook group. So yeah, it
mm-hmm.
was really fascinating though, wasn't it?
It was. And, for something that started off as a personal project for Jin with no intention of creating, an empire, um,
Right.
it suddenly grew to like 300 and almost 350,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was crazy.
Are you talking to the kids or the cats?
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm home alone, but
Oh,
the kids just showed up, so surprised me. I didn't know they were coming over, so I'm gonna go in the bedroom for a minute.
that's like the old joke. I'm coming home from school. I couldn't find it. My parents keep moving.
Yeah, it just surprised me. I have my headphones in, so I couldn't hear very good, and I was like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, who's here?"
That's okay. You should
Well, that's
introduce them.
fine.
They're good girls.
Yeah, well, only one of them is here, so she's
Okay.
I don't know where she went, but let me get the lighting a little better in here too. Although I guess all right. Sorry about that, Fred. This is real life. This is what happens when you're an entrepreneur and a mom, right?
Yep. And one of the reasons I do these podcasts and I try to do minimal editing is because things like this happen, and that's what made the old late night TV talk shows great
Yeah.
because they were uncut and stuff just happened and you roll with it.
Yeah, it's real life. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that. There, especially in the world we have post COVID where everyone was on Zoom. And so kids,
Mm-hmm.
cats, spouses, everybody would just be rolling in. So I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone can relate to that.
For sure, for sure. So you had really quick success with your fasting. You dropped 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And did you drop any more after that?
I did, but I ran into, I mean, I think a lot of people have this where they run into a plateau and then you kind of have to start to tweak a little bit. Maybe you tweak your
Mm-hmm.
fasting window, maybe you tweak the foods that you eat. Like, I think that we run into, I mean, everyone's different. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
do a little bit more tweaking. I did lose, I think, probably like another 10 pounds after that,
Mm-hmm.
just with strictly fasting and, and switching my foods a little bit. I did kind of cut back on, just eat whatever you want sort of thing. And it wasn't ever
Yeah.
eat as much as you want. It was more like you could eat whatever foods you liked, but I cut back on the processed foods,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that really we probably know aren't that great for us anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
I cut back on those and then lost probably another 10 pounds, I
So, and now you've put on that 10 pounds again with muscle.
think. Yeah.
So,
I'm actually in the process, yeah, of focusing on building up muscle, and losing body fat. So
mm-hmm.
it's one of those things that you can do at the same time. It is difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be done.
Okay. So maybe if the audience is lucky, you'll show us the gun show before we finish. Excuse me. So, you eat a pretty clean diet anyway, because you're sort of vegetarianish, aren't you?
Yeah, I am vegetarian. Yep. I'm what's called a lacto ovo vegetarian. So I eat eggs and dairy, like eggs, cheese, but I don't eat
Mm-hmm.
any meat. Um, yeah. And I was actually raised that way. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I left home to go to college, I tried meat, but I really didn't like it. So I
Mm-hmm.
just decided that vegetarian was the way I was going to go.
Wow, what a rebel! You actually tried meat.
I did. I didn't like it though. Like it was kind of gross.
Okay. So, where are you at now with your fasting?
I still do fast. I'm currently, we'll talk about this, but I'm currently training to compete in a bodybuilding show. And so I have to eat a
Mm-hmm.
lot of protein. And to
Mm-hmm.
do that, it's pretty hard to cram it into a small window. So I still try to fast at least 16 hours every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just, and then I just eat in an 8 hour window. I also try to finish eating by 4:30 or 5 p.m. just because I personally feel better eating earlier in the day and then finishing up earlier.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we don't actually talk a lot about in the intermittent fasting world is the timing of your window works differently for different people. Excuse me, depending on, your various circadian rhythms. Some
Yeah.
people just do better, fueling themselves in a late afternoon or an early evening or a late night or an early morning. So it's that tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until you find what
Yeah.
works for you. I've actually been working on moving my window back, and it used to be very much a later 8 p.m. ish to 10, 12, and I'm bumping it down to 4:30 ish now, and I'm finding that's working for me because my fasting has been interrupted by a few incidents, as you know. So,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people enjoy fasting until dinner because dinner is such a social event for a lot of people. And for me, I have kids, as you guys know, and they play sports. So a lot of times we aren't even home for dinner and we don't all eat together anyway. So it's one of those things that it just works better for me. I get up at 4:30 and go to the gym first thing. So I'm already up early. It makes sense to just eat. I usually try to eat like 8:30, somewhere between 8:30 and 4:30. And I eat typically two meals, sometimes three, but usually just two.
so are these heavy on beans? Is that where you get the most protein from a mostly veggie
Um,
diet?
I do eat some beans. Right now, because I'm so like focused for this bodybuilding show, I have to eat
Mm-hmm.
specific numbers. Like I wouldn't the general population doesn't need to worry about this, but like for me, I have to eat certain macros. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty low carb right now. So beans are actually, even though they do have protein, they're pretty high carb. So I don't eat a ton of beans. I eat things like tofu, um,
Mm-hmm.
meat replacement products, Greek yogurt, low fat cheese. I mean, I eat kind of a random because I have to eat so much protein right now. It's really a mumble jumble of things. It's not like I sit down
Mm-hmm.
and eat like a meat, a carb, a veggie sort of meal. It's more like
Mm-hmm.
piece it together. It's like Tetris.
So, how complicated is this having your special diet from your family? I don't remember if they're also, um, what did you call it?
Lacto
Ovo,
ovo vegetarian. Yeah,
lacto,
no,
ovo.
they're not. None of them are.
Okay. Okay.
So it's really not. I mean, I've always been vegetarian and they haven't. So as far
Hmm.
as like what I'm eating now doesn't really change as far as like with them. I still make their food. I cook the meat. I do, I make them their food. I don't make them eat what I'm eating.
Hmm. That's very nice of you. Some mothers would.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like it's a lot what I'm eating, and so I just don't want to stupid headphones. I just don't want to, I mean, they need to get balanced nutrition too. I have three kids. Two of them are girls, 13 and 15, and this is a really important time in their development.
Hmm.
My son is 24 and he doesn't live at home anymore, so I don't have to worry about him. But the girls, it's really important for me to make sure that they get a balanced diet. So I don't, put my restrictions on them.
You also have 18 cats, don't you?
Yeah, I have two. They may run in here. We'll see what
Hmm.
happens. You never know. Usually when I come in the bedroom, Carlos comes flying in here, but
Hmm.
so far so good.
Yeah, I've switched to headphones, the over-ear headphones,
Yeah.
because sometimes the buds just decide they don't want to be involved with your ears.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Especially this one in my left ear is obnoxious. But when I clean, I have a cleaning business. So when I clean, it's nice to have these like I just put one in and then I can hear if people are here or whatever. So I rarely wear two. This left one
Hmm.
doesn't like to stay in.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
So
weird.
so let's talk about how complicated your life is, because you're at the gym very, very early, and you go to Orange Theory, which is, as you told me the other day, it's a hit facility, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like a mafia hit facility, but a high intensity interval
Yeah, right.
training
Like the high
facility.
into exactly. I do go there. I have a membership at another gym locally to my house too, where I lift weights in addition to Orange Theory,
Hmm.
um, strictly because I'm doing this bodybuilding show. And Orange Theory is amazing for cardio fitness. And we do a little bit of strength training there, but probably not enough to build
Hmm.
the muscle that I need to for the show. But yeah, I've been going to Orange Theory I started in April of 2019. And
Hmm.
so I've been going 3.5 years now. I love it.
Yeah, I saw something about a 900 number somewhere on one of your Instagrams. Want to
I did.
talk
I
about?
hit my 900th class just last week.
That's amazing. And
It really, it really is amazing in that a year ago in my Facebook memories, I hit my 650th class basically on the same day. So in a
mhm.
year, I went to 250 classes, which is, quite a bit, obviously, as people know. So I'm very consistent.
Mm-hmm. And I wish I was that consistent with my exercise. I am consistent. I just can't do any gym work right now. And
Yeah.
I'm so waiting to be able to get back to that. So,
You have
um,
a lot of health challenges that most of us, the general populace, don't have. So you get a
yeah. So,
pass.
so right now, yeah, it's just mostly walking for me. And I'm getting pretty bored of that. I really,
Yeah.
really want to get back to the gym. So, um, given your schedule, so how much time are you spending in the gym a week, do you think?
Um, well, let's see. Probably probably like 15 hours a week between the
That's a
two
big chunk.
gyms. Yeah, I go every day, so
Mhm.
it's a lot.
Do the girls go with you every so often?
Yeah, my youngest daughter has a membership at the gym that's local, and so she goes with me. Not every day because I do work out typically at 5 a.m., but on
Hmm.
the weekends she'll come over with me and do some stuff. And then my older daughter is in high school and she plays softball, so she works out at the with the softball players at the high school gym.
Oh, nice, nice. So you're building that work ethic into them.
Yes.
So 15 hours a week gymming and then getting to the gym. And you've also got your own business. You have a cleaning business where you work like 50, 60 hours a week. So,
Sometimes before Christmas, I for sure did. Typically, like I probably work 40 to 45, like on a normal. I mean, before Christmas,
mhm.
it was much busier, but on a general week, Yeah, I work 6 days cleaning because I clean offices on the weekends. So, and then I
Mm-hmm.
have houses the other 5 days.
So you're getting, 60 hours plus travel. Um, that's, really cutting into the week. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I don't
but
have a lot of
then,
free time.
and yet you find a way to post like 300 times a day on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, well, that's part of my business, so
Mm-hmm.
it is something that I have to kind of just make time for. But a lot of times when I'm posting, I am at work, I'm cleaning someone's house and it doesn't take me long. I've kind of honed the art of posting. So I'll like make an idea in my head, kind of write the post in my head, and then just quickly, post the picture and type it out. So it doesn't take me a ton of time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gratefully for that.
Okay. So are you taking on new clients for your cleaning business?
No,
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 just
I am full and I get calls like daily. So if anyone in the Bozeman area has a cleaning business and you need clients, message me because I can get you some.
okay. So that's a good segue to how would somebody message you?
I am on both Instagram. Well, on Instagram, I'm Who is Angie Clay, and on Facebook, I'm Angie McCully Clay. Both of my profiles are open public, so you can get a hold of me and send me a message. My contact info is all there.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your side hustle because you're not busy enough. So,
Yeah,
oh, should we also mention you're a sports travel mom?
I am a sports travel mom. My
So,
daughter plays softball, and we, in the summer especially, it is crazy town. We are gone every single weekend for like 10 weeks in a row, maybe 11 weeks in a row.
mm-hmm.
It's a lot of
So
fun, though. She's awesome.
I'm surprised you can find your house.
I know. During the summer, I can't. I don't live here much in the summer. In the
Okay.
winter, it's not quite as crazy.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the side hustle. You sell nutritional supplements
I
and
do.
skin supplements.
Mhm.
And so,
It's basically a
who?
health and wellness company. So we have a bunch of different products, and the premise of it is that it activates your body to perform better. So whatever is going on inside your body, it activates your pathways so that you can, just perform better. It really
Mm-hmm.
just helps enhances what you already have going on in there. Everything is scientifically based. It's all tested and no supplements are FDA approved. So I want to get that out there right away because people are like, oh, is it
Mm-hmm.
FDA approved? And honestly, um, I'm of the opinion that the FDA, I mean, they approve drugs and they approve, Twinkies. So they don't approve any supplements. So I have a hard time telling people are like, well, it's not FDA approved. It is not, but they do allow us to say that it will reduce your oxidative stress by up to 40% in 30 days. So I can say that. The FDA lets me know I can say that.
Wait, are you saying Twinkies aren't supplements?
I mean, they might be. They can supplement. I don't know. I haven't had a Twinkie in a hot minute, so that just popped into my head. That's funny.
I'm not sure if I've ever had a Twinkie, but I remember reading, and I don't know if this is one of these obscure factoids. It's not really a factoid, but a Twinkie has a shelf life of like 70 years or something.
I've heard that too, and I actually believe it. If you've ever bought like if you think about it, like I've bought like white hamburger buns, I mean, just the like cheap store brand hamburger buns. And if you leave them up in your cupboard, do you know
Mm-hmm.
after like 3 or 4 months, they still aren't rotten? And I'm like, what do they have in them that they can last that long? So I have a hard time, with something that's approved like that, saying that that's somehow better for you than a supplement that's all natural that has things like, turmeric and
Mm-hmm.
nothing bad, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So I have a hard time thinking that that hamburger bun's better for me.
Yeah. So, do you just take these, or I guess it's a side hustle? So you make
It
these
is, yep.
available.
I do. Yep, they're available for purchase. Like you can, I both build my business, so meaning I bring on other distributors and business partners, and I sell the products. So it's something that I've done for 7 years now. The company is actually
Mm-hmm.
called LifeVantage. I think I have it on my sweatshirt today. I don't normally do that, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably backwards. But anyway, yeah, the company is called LifeVantage, and they've been around for 13 or 14 years now, 14, I think. And I've been involved for 7 years. And what really drew it to me is the science, because they have um, 34 peer-reviewed studies on our flagship product, Protandem. And peer-reviewed studies, as you know, are like,
Hmm.
they can't be influenced by money. So like the company can't pay someone else to do these studies, because a lot of times when you see studies, you can track back where the money comes from. And a lot of times, like, a company, say like a pharmaceutical company or whatever, will fund a study that says that this product works. So it's important to me for people to understand that this product is peer reviewed studied, meaning someone completely outside of the company has done these studies. Places like Washington State, a lot of really well known universities have studied and
Hmm.
then published these studies on PubMed. So that is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Because money talks, and there's a lot of a lot of things out there that aren't actually good for you, but the study, you can find a study that says it is.
Yeah. One of the things I try to emphasize to people, if you're going to take a supplement, don't go and take like six supplements at once,
No.
because you a you'll have no idea if any of them are doing anything. You might feel different, but then, oh, I can do this better, I can do that better, or my weight has stabilized, but you don't know which of the six
Yeah,
are doing
exactly.
it. So you do really have to tweak and use yourself as an experiment of one,
Yeah,
and use it for a few weeks or a month or 6 weeks,
yeah,
see what effect it has on you, and if it works, maybe add something else. But
yeah. And honestly, most supplements aren't necessary for most people. I mean, it depends on what your body type is. There's a few things that everyone should be making sure that they get. B vitamins. Most people are deficient in B vitamins. Most people are deficient in vitamin D, especially in the winter, depending on where you live.
mhm,
So those things are things that like are fairly harmless and you shouldn't have to worry too much about overdosing on those kind of things. Those are very
mhm,
common vitamins to your body. And magnesium is another one that I always recommend people take. But
mhm,
yeah, as far as like just going to the grocery store and seeing like that, especially the weight loss supplements, like those have a lot of things in them that I wouldn't recommend people take.
mhm,
A lot of times they're just jacked up with a lot of caffeine and then they add fillers. So really what's doing it is the caffeine. What's making you feel different is the caffeine, and not so much like what else they put in there.
mhm,
And supplements aren't regulated by anyone, so they don't have to tell you what's actually in them. So I'm very careful about what I put in my body. And I'm very careful about what I would recommend people take. So if
mhm,
I say, hey, this is a company I'm involved with, it's not because I want to make money. It's literally because it helped me, and then I want to share it with other people.
mhm.
Um, there's a lot of scammers out there.
Actually, I think supplements are supposed to tell you what's in them. They're just not really held to any standard of
Yeah,
accuracy.
yeah,
So,
100%. Like they can say, oh yeah, this has got this, but they don't have to tell you the amounts that it has in it.
mhm,
um, it's really kind of crazy, actually, if you think about it. And the crazier part is that people will just buy them and take them with
mhm.
no research whatsoever on anything. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. I think in the Facebook group, I once posted an article from the LA Times about how supplements became unregulated. They used to be under the purview of the FDA,
Yeah,
and then money got in the way of that, and it became the wild wild west again. So,
yeah, sure did. It's a crazy world.
so you had mentioned one of the supplements that you take regularly, and what is that?
It's called Protandem. So that's actually the flagship product of the company. It's the first one that they came up with. And oh, Carlos came in. It's got only 5 ingredients, so it's nothing crazy. I was just going to read them to you. For some reason, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why I can never remember these. I just blank out when I'm on a call.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got turmeric, I mentioned, and then it's got, I'm getting old. My eyes don't want to work. Milk thistle,
Yeah.
um, ashwagandha, green tea
Mm-hmm.
extract, and bacopa.
Okay. You
So
could have
nothing
just asked
crazy.
Carlos to read them.
I know he should have. He's really good at doing that kind of stuff. He's super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's got those 5 ingredients, and then it's just a proprietary blend of those 5 things. So like you couldn't just take those 5 supplements and get the same effect as you would with one pill. And this
Hmm.
is the one that the FDA does allow. So it reduces your oxidative stress. And if you don't know what that is, that's just inflammation on
Hmm.
the inside of your body. So this helps reduce inflammation up to 40% in 30 days. So when people start it, we recommend that they take it for a month for every decade that they've been alive to really reduce that. So if you're in your 40s, then you should take it for 4 months before you might see, whatever differences you're looking for. When I first started taking it, I really didn't have any health challenges, with the exception of I had a neck issue and I had shoulder pain from work mostly.
Hmm.
And so I started taking, I was having a hard time sleeping. And I started taking this, and within 10 days, I was sleeping through the night. So that was really
It's
cool for
amazing.
me. And yeah, I mean, like it was a really great thing because obviously, as you know, sleep is important. And
Hmm.
so then I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff actually works because, it's like you said, there's a million things out there. And so I started with just this one product. And actually, when I started 7 years ago, we only had a couple of different products. So in the past 7 years, they've really expanded. And activation is the big theme of the company. So they won't come out with any product. A lot of the products have. This is Protandim NRF2. And so it activates your NRF2 pathway in your body. And a lot of the products have the NFR2 activation in them. So, like the skincare has that, and we have hair care. We have a bunch of different things now. So, that all has the NRF2 in it. Not as
Hmm.
much, like obviously, right? But it has that activation in there.
Well, if you listen to Dr. Andrew Huberman and his podcast,
Yeah, he's
and
got a great podcast.
yeah, and he talks about activating the pathways or the epigenetic systems and stuff like
Yep.
that, and that peptides are the new legal steroids. So
Yes.
he talks a lot about this stuff. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
guessing.
I've heard a couple of his episodes, but yeah, the epigenetics is exactly what this company is about.
Mhm. So for those of you who aren't familiar with epigenetics, we're all familiar with genetics, which is, and their expression is the things you can see, like how tall you are, what your voice sounds like, if you're as handsome as I am, if you're as attractive as Angie, those kinds of things. But the epigenetics are the subsystems that may or may not be working for you due to certain conditions. And um, if you can get those systems up and firing, it's going to greatly enhance the way your body works.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And as we age, all of those systems kind of just start to shut down anyway, right? Like as we get older, like that's just part of the deal. So if you can activate them longer and make them work like they should, you're going to have you might live longer, but in addition to that, you'll live like a better life. I mean, you might live
Yeah.
to be 90, but if you're sick and you're laying in bed the whole time, I mean, is that really a life? I want to be
Mm-hmm.
active. I want to be out playing. I want, when my kids have kids, I want to be able to play with my grandkids. So it's important to me.
Mm-hmm. That brings me back to one of the things we found a lot from people in the older ages group in intermittent fasting is one of the things they would say is, I can't believe it. I can get on the ground and play with my grandkids again, you know,
Exactly.
and they've
Fasting
gotten
is an awesome biohack. It does so much good in your body and it's free. So like that's not even a product you have to take. I recommend everyone fasts for at
Mhm.
least some period.
Possibly the biggest gain I got from intermittent fasting was that it got rid of all the inflammation in my body.
Yeah.
And before I was fasting, every joint in my body ached, and I thought it was, just from simply being morbidly obese and, having played sports and everything. I didn't know there was such a thing as body-wide inflammation,
Yeah.
and I'd say within 4 months of starting fasting, it was all gone. It was just
That's
liberating,
amazing. I love
and
to hear
and
those stories.
and if your supplement can do that for people as well, you've got to be nuts not
Yeah,
to
it
try it.
enhances it. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It enhances it. And it like honestly, even if you don't feel anything, like it is 100% working. And there's nothing in it. Like I said, there's no like weird stimulants, all of those ingredients, like you can look at and know what they are. Everyone has heard of those things. It's nothing
Mm-hmm.
like really out of the ordinary. So for me, it was kind of a no brainer. And then I felt so good, like I just kept taking it. And I've progressed and gotten, healthier and healthier as I've gone along.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you in the audience who might think, "Oh, this sounds like a multi-level marketing," it it's a version of that, but it's a very professional version. Um,
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who's going to like bang on your door. Like, if you want this, amazing. Like, I've got it here
mhm,
for you. It is the MLM like marketing. But I will tell you that this product, like I said, for Tandem here, it was actually in GNC stores and other like stores like that. It was at Walmart, those places, but it never sold because people didn't know what it did.
mhm,
So the people who developed it were like, listen, we got to find a different like strategy to market this to people because it's just not selling. It's an amazing product, but like, how can we get this out there? And, direct selling was one of the best ways because it's word of mouth. For you
mhm,
to hear about it, I have to tell you. And so they opted to go that route. And so that's why the company was developed. But the product has actually been around quite a bit longer. Dr. Joe McCordis, who actually invented it, he's not with the company anymore, but he's a scientist. And, they did all these studies. And so ABC News actually did a report back in 2005. And the reporter, John, I can't think of his last name, was started with a Q. Anyway, he like did this whole study where he started taking this. They took his blood and then he took this for 2 weeks and then they took his blood again. And then his blood was like that of someone who was like in their 20s. And he
mhm,
couldn't believe that after only 2 weeks. So, like, there's this whole study that they did. And so then they decided to go with the direct selling route because it's just easier for people to get the word out in a much bigger scale than like just selling it at a GNC.
mhm. So, as you were running a little short of time, so I'm going to ask you a little bit about your bodybuilding adventure. What prompted that, and when are you due on stage, and how's the progress going?
So what prompted it is I ran a half marathon in September and I'm always
Mhm,
looking to challenge myself. My youngest daughter said to me, once I finished, like literally we were in the car on the way home after the race and she said, "So, what's the next challenge you're going to do?" And I thought, oh my gosh, how cool is it that my 13-year-old knows that I am always looking with something to challenge myself and improve. And I
mhm,
thought, well, I better come up with something pretty big that like scares the bejesus out of me.
mhm,
And I've never wanted to do a show. One of my best friends actually has done shows. Her and her husband run a couple of shows in Indianapolis to a year. And so I
mhm,
thought, well, that's something I could maybe do. And I kind of mentioned it to Jocelyn, who's my daughter, and she said, I think you should do it. So I decided right then and there that that was something I was going to do. Scares me half to death. I'm not scared of the work. I'm not scared of the eating and how I have to alter those things. But I will tell you, to be honest, the wearing 5-inch heels and having
mhm.
to pose and wear a really skimpy bikini on stage and be judged is very scary.
Yeah, I'd
um,
find that scary too.
yeah, it's terrifying. So I've already bought the heels and I've been practicing. I'm still terrible, but I'll get
Mhm,
there. So the show is June 10th in Indianapolis, which is obviously nowhere near me, but I'm going to fly there and stay with my friend, and they,
mhm,
know the ropes. I've got a coach who is actually a nutrition coach, and he's competed in shows before, and he's also coached, um, athletes. So he's been great, and he'll be able to come watch me compete, which will be awesome. So yeah, it's the progress is going good. I just finished up week 10 of my training, and so I lift 5 days a week. Right now, I'm at like 30 minutes of low intensity steady state cardio every day, which is you basically for me, he wants my heart rate between 135 and 145. So
mhm.
it's not super intense. It's not Orange Theory craziness, but it is, basically like walking at a really brisk pace or the Strider or whatever. um, I do that. And then, yeah, so that's my training is going really well. And my food is going really well too. Although that is, like I said, a game of Tetris. I have to eat
Mhm.
a lot more protein than I'm used to eating. I have to eat 166 grams a day, which is a lot. And
Certainly is.
right, that'll change. Yeah, that'll change. It'll go down as my weight drops and my body fat drops. So, but yeah, I'm definitely leaner. I've been posting my pictures are all over Facebook, Instagram. You can find them everywhere. I'm very public about it because when I decided I was going to do this, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy! You'll have to keep us updated on your process." So I've just kind of been making the whole thing an open book. Some weeks are
Mhm.
better than others, but overall, I'm doing great.
I'm glad to hear that. I think we've talked about this in the past about Aaron Stern,
Yeah,
the two-time Miss Olympian. Yeah, she's got a
yeah,
good Instagram and
yeah. I'll have
probably
to
other
follow
social
her.
media. Yeah, and she gives tips on posing and stuff like that. So she's completely changed uh, the the sections that she competes in. Like I think she used to
Yeah,
be a pure bodybuilder, and she's
yeah.
gone down and radically changed her body. It's amazing to watch that people can do this to themselves.
Yeah, there's different divisions for sure. So like what I'll compete in, so bodybuilding is like the highest level of muscle mass. You'll have
Mm-hmm.
like amazing, like ridiculous definition. And then right below that is physique. And then below that is figure and then bikini. So I will probably, you can compete in more than one division. So I'll probably
Mm-hmm.
compete in both. Well, actually, I'll probably do three. I'll do bikini, figure, and physique, depending on what I
Mm-hmm.
look like closer to the day. Bodybuilding is too much. Like the actual like bodybuilding division, I don't have the time to look like that, and I don't want to.
Mostly steroids.
Yeah, I'm doing an all natural show too. Let's be clear here. I'm competing in a show that is an all natural show,
Mm-hmm.
so I will not be taking any steroids. That's people don't want to talk about that, but it happens a lot in bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to an open show, they're crazy. They look insane, and yes, they have all used performance enhancing drugs. I will not be doing that.
Good for you. So I'm going to wrap up here, and I wish you all the luck. And of course, I'll see you almost every day on social media. And thanks for joining us. Thank you to the audience for joining us. If you have any questions, Ange, where do they find you?
I'm at Who is Angie Clay on Instagram or Angie McCully Clay on Facebook.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you to the audience. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, visit Angie on her Instagram, visit her on Facebook, and hopefully see you next episode. Hope you enjoy. Take care. Bye bye.